What is true love really about? Is it what's outside or what's within? This is the story of Drake, a man who had everything, but chose to hide it all in search of something real. And Amy, a woman with a heart so genuine, she couldn't see the danger standing right beside her. Drake looked like any ordinary man. Plain clothes, an old car, a quiet life in a modest apartment. But behind the curtain, he was the silent owner of multiple tech startups. He had wealth beyond most people's dreams, yet lived like he had nothing.
I just want someone who sees me, not my money.
At a small neighborhood bookstore, he met Amy Kind, honest, full of life. She loved books, hated pretense, and believed in love that couldn't be bought. Drake was drawn in, but kept his secret, hoping her feelings were real. Then came Paul, Amy's so-called old friend. Always close, always just a friend. But to Drake, Paul's intentions were anything but friendly.
She trusts me. She doesn't even realize how I really feel.
Drake didn't confront Amy, he didn't snoop or spy. Instead, he used what he knew best: tech, social profiles, public records, online, whispers. And what he found chilled him: workplace warnings, ex-girlfriends who'd left in silence. A man with a pattern, and a dangerous one at that. Drake submitted what he found anonymously to the local police near Amy's bookstore. Then he offered Amy a gift, a custom-built emergency app disguised as a fun little widget, something she'd never question but could save her life. One rainy night, Amy's dinner with friends ran late. Paul offered to drive her home. She hesitated but agreed. Outside her apartment, he refused to leave. He pushed, pressured, crossed a line, terrified. Amy opened the app. One tap. A silent alert. 3 minutes later, Drake arrived. Not in the old car she knew, but in a sleek black SUV. 2 men stepped out behind him, sharp, professional.
This is being recorded. The police are on their way. Walk away now.
Paul panicked. He tried to run but didn't get far. Amy was safe but confused.
Drake, what's going on?
It's time I told you I'm not just a regular guy.
Drake had told her everything: who he really was, what he had been hiding, and why he chose to hide it.
To be honest, at first, I was overwhelmed. But then I realized you weren't trying to deceive me. You were trying to protect me.
I just wanted to know your heart. If I had shown you everything from the start, I don't know if I could have trusted that it was real.
Amy let out a quiet breath, then nodded slowly.
Don't hide from me again, the good or the bad. Whatever it is, I want to face it with you.
I promise. From now on, we face everything together.
From that day on, Drake no longer kept his distance, and Amy no longer held back. They accepted each other completely and began to build something new together. They worked side by side at the bookstore, shared quiet dinners after long days, and sometimes Drake would show Amy parts of the world he once kept hidden. But then, on a day that seemed just like any other, Amy received a text message. No number, no name, just one sentence. Stay away from him. You'll see why soon.
It has to be.
Let me check. Just in case we should upgrade security at the store too.
They realized someone was still watching. The calm wasn't going to last, and the shadow from the past was about to return. For a while, things were peaceful. Amy was healing, Drake was opening up more, and together they started something real. But Paul didn't stay quiet for long. After being released on bail, Paul disappeared from the city, but not without leaving a trace. Someone broke into Amy's bookstore. Nothing was stolen, but her photos were slashed, and a warning was spray-painted on the back wall: "Leave him, or I'll make you leave."
It was him. It has to be Paul.
This changes everything. We're not just protecting feelings anymore, we're protecting lives.
Drake didn't panic. Instead, he moved with precision. Cameras were installed overnight. Cybersecurity was reinforced. He brought in a private investigator and reached out to contacts Amy never knew he had, and Amy, for the first time, didn't want to just be protected. She wanted to fight back.
No more hiding. No more hoping it'll stop. I'm not afraid of him. Not anymore.
Then we do this together, side by side.
Through a trail of messages and digital breadcrumbs, they tracked Paul to a remote motel on the city's edge. He had been planning, watching, waiting. But what he didn't know was that Drake wasn't just rich. He was connected to legal teams, to justice, foundations, and to people who didn't let things like this go. This time, there were no warnings, no second chances. Police arrived with full evidence. Paul was arrested, not just for harassment, but for cyber stalking, property damage, and multiple counts of intimidation.
He's finally gone. Really gone.
No more shadows, just us now forward.
Amy had faced her fear, and Drake had used his power, not to dominate, but to protect, to build, to stand beside her. They were no longer just a man and a woman learning to trust. They were a team built on scars, held together by truth. And as their story moved forward, it wasn't the wealth or the danger that defined them. It was the choice to fight for something real and never run away again. This may sound like one man's story, but one day it might just be yours.